Now, we're recording this on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you. So I was perusing the Twitter sphere yesterday, and Rotten Tomatoes had like a March Madness bracket, right? And people love brackets. We know that.
Love the concepts.
Love the content. They did a Rom-Com Showdown, where they decided to crown the greatest rom-com of all time. And this is one of those examples where people really shouldn't have power, where people really shouldn't have a voice. This is why we have institutions. This is why we have the United States is a republic and not a direct democracy, for reasons like this. Now, the winner of this said bracket ended up being The Princess Bride.
A great film.
Wonderful movie.
Your thoughts?
Possibly the best movie on that bracket. Possibly.
Okay, that is an opinion to take. However,
Think
The
it's a good
Princess
opinion.
Bride,
I'm with you.
not a rom-com.
Well, that's the question, right? I mean, you say that people shouldn't have power, and I don't know if I completely agree with that, but what I do think
I said
is
people shouldn't
hey,
have power in this instance.
I know I said the people, therefore refining to the people that were voting on this this thing. I think it really comes down to the selection committee, right? Like, what are your qualifications for being a romantic comedy, and does The Princess Bride fit into it? I am gonna say I tend to side with you. It doesn't feel like a rom-com to me, but if we're defining a rom-com as a comedy that features a narrative of romance as the main plot, you can make a strong case that The Princess Bride does have that. It's an adventure movie too, but like the love between Wesley and Buttercup, that is what drives the narrative, right?
Rom-com has a certain connotation. Maybe it is now, over the years, come to mean more of that formulaic, dare I say, chick flick premise. In which case, Princess Bride, not a rom-com. 40-Year-Old Virgin, not a rom-com. Clueless, not a rom-com. Are they all comedies? Yes. Are they all romances? Yes. But if we're identifying the phrase rom-com with, again, that kind of predictable, guy or girl chases after the other back and forth, and that's the leading A plot and possibly the only focused plot, well, then those movies aren't rom-coms. But if we're broadening the definition to include all things that are both romance and comedy, then I guess it is a rom-com. I don't know. I'm torn on it, because when I hear rom-com in my head, I don't think of many good movies.
And I do think, I think it's fair to say too, like, it depends on how broad you really want to go with the scope of it. If we are broadening it to anything that has a romantic story in it or romantic tones throughout it, then a lot of things that are no way rom-coms start to fall under that category, and then we're just being ridiculous, right? And so, I think I tend to agree with Greg. Princess Bride, great movie, possibly the best one on there, and I can't blame the people for voting for the movie that's the best. I can blame the selection committee for putting it in there.
Okay, well, here's the thing about rom-com. I don't think a rom-com is something you check a bunch of boxes on and it fits a bunch of criteria. It's sort of that old adage about pornography. You know it when you see it. That's what a rom-com is. The Princess Bride is nowhere near rom-com. 40-Year-Old Virgin, it's on the margins. It's on the margins. But you've got movies that The Princess Bride defeated in this bracket. Now, let me bring up when the finals was The Princess Bride versus When Harry Met Sally. That should have been a no-brainer.
Two great movies.
When Harry Met Sally wins. That's just...
If we're talking explicitly in the rom-com department, then it's definitely When Harry Met Sally. I think there's a debate otherwise. If you just want to talk about which is your favorite movie, I think they're both great films. But When Harry Met Sally is a rom-com.
Yes.
We could agree on that.
So let's go back to the Elite Eight of the bracket. Now, we've got When Harry Met Sally, Amelie. I don't have...
I love Amelie.
I've
Amelie's
actually
one of
never
my
seen
favorite
Amelie.
movies of all. Garrett,
I know.
you gotta watch Amelie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's probably top 10 for me.
Right, cool. You got 40-Year-Old Virgin, 10 Things I Hate About You, classic 90s rom-com, Groundhog Day, Jerry Maguire, Princess Bride, and Pretty Woman. Now, when Princess Bride went head-to-head with Pretty Woman, that should have been the end of Princess Bride. Pretty Woman is, when you think rom-com, or rom-com, depending on where you want to put the emphasis, Pretty Woman is the quintessential. I could go for an hour about this.
Right, but if you're voting on which movie you like better, I'm never voting for Pretty Woman over Princess Bride. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
I guess it comes down to are we trying to determine the best movie that falls into those categories, or are we trying to determine the best rom-com? And I think that is so subjective that I think that the people that are in charge of Rotten Tomatoes should have made it clear which one it is that we're voting for. Does it, and I'm gonna guess that they didn't, although we really only caught the tail end of this, so I don't know.
Yeah, let me see what even seed Princess Bride was. I don't even think they did seeds. You know what? I don't want to give this thing more time out of my life because it's a bogus bracket. It makes me think that we need to do our own rom-com bracket someday to, at least put something out in the universe that makes sense and has.
I will guarantee I will have
legitimacy.
seen very few of them, and but I will definitely argue about the rules. So let's do it.
Sounds good.